What's up, guys, and welcome back to Overkill Gaming, your home for high-end gaming. Whether it's PC, PS5, or handheld, we got you covered. Today is the day of the long-awaited and highly requested SSD Partition video, where we show you how to dual boot the Steam Deck from the internal SSD using a partition. This is probably my 5th time setting up a dual boot on my Steam Deck, and I've tried different methods. I've tried different SD cards, and by far this method is the one that offers the best performance overall. For those of you who might be unfamiliar with dual booting, it basically gives you the ability to run 2 operating systems on the Steam Deck. You'll be able to run both SteamOS and Windows, and this will open up your options in terms of what games you can run. For me, I wanted my Steam Deck to be the ultimate portable gaming device, and because not every game can run on SteamOS, especially multiplayer games that have anti-cheats, that's why I ended up having to install Windows, and so that's what we're going to be showing you how to do today. Before we get started, if you guys enjoyed today's video, please be sure to leave a like on the video and also consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any of our future content. Lots of great content here on this channel for the Steam Deck. We also cover PC and PS5 as well. You definitely don't want to miss out on any of it. Now, we will be starting with a fresh install of SteamOS on the Steam Deck. This Steam Deck here has nothing on it other than the operating system. There are no games on this Steam Deck right now, no other applications, just the operating system. We will go over how to re-image the Steam Deck with the SteamOS operating system later in the video. Next, we'll go over what you'll need to pull this off. You'll need a USB stick, preferably 2, one to hold GParted, which is our partitioning software, and the other one to hold Windows. You can also use one USB stick to do the whole process. It's just going to take a little bit longer. The USB stick that we're going to be using is 64 gigabytes. You also need a keyboard and mouse. This is one that I use, but I also have another one plugged into the Steam Deck right now. And you'll need a hub to plug in your keyboard and mouse to the Steam Deck. Now, this is the one made by Anker. It has 2 USBs, SD card slots, HDMI, and it has power delivery, so we'll be charging the Steam Deck while we are doing the dual boot setup. Next, we'll go over the software that you'll need. The first thing you'll want to download is the GNOME Partition Editor. This is what we'll be using to set up the partition on the SSD, and you can see here exactly what this software does. It allows you to grow or sync your C drive, create space for new operating systems, attempt data rescue from lost partitions, and so on. We'll have links down in the description so you don't have to search for anything, but we'll just click on download. And then the one we want to click on is the one at the top here for AMD64.ISO. And once you click on that, the download will start in a few seconds. All right, so we have that downloaded. Next thing we want to do is download the Windows 10 installation media. And then we'll need the Windows drivers for the Steam Deck, which you can find on the in the Steam store. And we're going to download the APU driver, the Wi-Fi driver, the Bluetooth driver, the SD card reader driver, and 2 Windows audio drivers. That's 6 drivers in total, and we will be installing those drivers after we have completed the Windows install. You'll also need to install RUFUS, which is the software that we use to create our images for Windows and also for GParted. We'll go ahead and download this as well. Also, for the purpose of re-imaging the Steam Deck, you're going to want to download the Steam Deck Recovery ISO, which you can also get from the Steam store as well. And what this will allow you to do is basically set the Steam Deck back to the way it was when you got it. You can re-image it, you can reinstall the OS, etc. So we're gonna want to go ahead and download this as well. Now, one optional step that I like to do, because as you can see I have a lot of icons on my desktop, I like to create a folder, name it drivers, drag all the drivers into that folder, and then extract them there. After they're extracted, I get rid of the zip files. This isn't necessarily required, but just something that I like to do. And then I do the same exact thing for the ISO images as well. Create a folder with the images and put them all in that one folder just to be organized. And the software that I use to unzip all of these folders is WinRAR, which you can find on the internet for free.
Hey Will, this shit is fucking cold.
And I'll do the exact same thing for our images, our GParted, our recovery, our media creation tool, and RUFUS. I'll just throw all of those in the same folder as well. The next step after this will be to re-image the Steam Deck. With our thumb drive inserted into our PC, we'll go ahead and open up RUFUS, make sure our thumb drive is selected at the top. We'll select our SteamOS recovery ISO and then click start. This process could take about 10 minutes or so. So we'll speed things up for the sake of brevity.
Hey Will, this shit is fucking cold. Goodwill.
All right, so we're done writing the ISO file for our SteamOS recovery drive. And now we'll just go ahead and click on close, and then we'll exit out of this and eject our USB drive and move over to the Steam Deck. All right, so here we are at the Steam Deck. We'll go ahead and insert our USB drive with our SteamOS recovery image on it into our hub. And when we power on the Steam Deck, we're gonna hold down the volume down and the power until we hear the chime, and then we'll release. And what this will do is it will take us into the bootloader, and then we'll select the USB drive in the list, and this will start the recovery process. Now, you may not see anything happen right away. It actually might take a few minutes before you see anything change, but don't worry, don't panic. It's doing its thing. So just sit back, relax, maybe play a couple of games of COD on your PC, and by the end of that, you should see something happening. And we'll speed up this part too for the sake of brevity. All right, when you get to this screen here, we're gonna wanna select the option that says Re-image Steam Deck. And when this box pops up, we will just click on Proceed. And then we just sit back and allow it to do its thing. Should take a few minutes as well. By the way, this is the same thing that you're gonna wanna do if you have a dual booted Steam Deck with partitions and you want to undo it and put it back to the way that it was from the factory. This is the same exact process. All right, so it says re-imaging complete. And we're gonna click on this button here that says proceed, and it's gonna restart the Steam Deck. Okay, so this screen here should look very familiar. It's the exact same screen you see when you turn on your Steam Deck for the first time. It's gonna ask you, your time zone, set up your Wi-Fi, your credentials, etc. So we just go ahead and go through all of those steps, and then it will start an installation process, which should only take a few minutes. Everything is done downloading. Here you're going to want to enter in your username and password, as well as the SteamGuard code that they will send to your email address. All right, so now we have a fresh install of SteamOS on the Steam Deck. Should show all of your games. None of these games are installed. It's just showing your library. We're going to go to our settings and check our storage just to see that all of the partitions that I had are erased, and there are no games on the Steam Deck right now. All right, so now we'll head back to the PC with our thumb drive. We'll insert it, and we're gonna open RUFUS again, and we're gonna create the image for GParted, which is the software that we're gonna use to partition the SSD. And all we have to do is go into RUFUS, hit select, find our GParted image, and then hit start. We want to select right in ISO image mode, and then click OK, and then OK again. And this should take a few minutes. At this point in the process, you should have an idea in your mind as to how you want to partition your SSD. For me, because I'm probably going to be spending a little bit more time in Windows than I will in SteamOS, so I'm going to give the majority of the space on the SSD to Windows and leave a little bit of space there for SteamOS. And then whatever games I want to play on SteamOS, I'll load those games onto a 512 gigabyte SD card. All right, and just like we did when we created the image for the SteamOS recovery drive, when it's done, we're just going to click close, and then we can pull out our thumb drive and then head back over to the Steam Deck. All right, so now we're ready for the next major step in the process. With the Steam Deck powered off, we're going to insert our thumb drive into our USB hub here. We're going to turn on the Steam Deck, holding volume down and hitting power and pressing power until we hear the chime, and then we'll let go. And this is going to take us into the boot menu. When we get into the boot menu, we're going to select our thumb drive, which contains GParted. And then we're going to flip the Steam Deck around, and you're going to have an option selected at the top. This part right here, you're going to want to have your keyboard plugged into your Steam Deck through the hub, and we're just going to hit enter with the default option at the top selected. All right, now we'll go ahead and flip the Steam Deck back around again. Let it do its thing. And right now it's loading GParted and we want to leave it selected with the default option. It says don't touch key map. Here you're going to want to select your language. It has it selected for me by default, the US English, so that's 33, but for you want to pick whatever your language is by typing the numbers and then hitting enter. And then here we want to have 0 selected. It has 0 selected by default. We'll just hit enter. All right, this next part is really important. We're gonna go ahead and flip the Steam Deck back around again. Now, we're gonna wanna focus on the last partition in the list, which is partition 8 that says home. And what we wanna do is right click on that partition and select resize move. From here, we're gonna select the size that we want this partition to be. This is gonna be the size of your SteamOS partition. So for me, I'm gonna set this down to around 50 gigabytes. And then the rest of it is gonna be for Windows. All right, now once you have your desired size selected for the SteamOS partition, then all you have to do at this point is go over here and click on this resize move button. And then now you're gonna see that we have a partition here with unallocated space. So what we wanna do here is right click, select new, and then we're gonna leave the file system as ext4, and we're gonna click add. So now we have it all set up. This is going to be my Windows partition, 416 gigabytes. And we'll click on this check and then click apply. And then now it's going to create the partitions. All right, so it's done. We'll go ahead and click close. And from here, we can go ahead and power off the unit and reboot back into SteamOS. Now I chose to boot back into the boot menu, but you should just be able to hit the power button and go right back into SteamOS. All right, so we're back into SteamOS. We'll go ahead and check our storage just to make sure our partition is as expected. And here we are. We can see here that the partition is exactly what we set it to in the GParted software. Now we're ready to install Windows. All right, so we're back on the PC with our USB inserted. We're gonna go to our media creation tool, double click. It's going to bring up this dialog window here. All right, and we're going to click accept. And here we're gonna select create installation media and then click next and then click next again, and USB flash drive. And then we're gonna select our USB, click next, and this will take about 10 minutes or so. All right, and once it's done, we'll go ahead and click finish, and we'll head back on over to the Steam Deck. All right, here we are back at the Steam Deck now. We're gonna go ahead and insert our USB, and then we're gonna hold volume down and power until we hear the chime, and then we'll let go, and that'll take us into the boot manager. And then we'll select our USB drive. And when it first appears, it's gonna be in portrait mode. So we'll just turn the Steam Deck upright, and I'm using a connected mouse and keyboard. We'll just click install now. And here we'll just say, I don't have a key. We can always just put in the key later. And we're gonna select Windows 10 Pro. And then here we'll accept the license agreement and click next. And then we're gonna go to custom install. And then what we're gonna wanna do here is find the partition that we created earlier for Windows, and we're gonna delete it. And click OK. And then we're gonna scroll back down again. It's gonna show that it's unallocated space, and we're gonna just click on it and click new, and then click apply, and then OK. And then we're gonna go ahead and click next, and then here we'll click OK. All right, and now it is beginning the installation process. Now, as you'll see right here, when it was trying to reboot, it kind of got stuck. So I'm going to show you what I did to fix this, just in case this happens to you when you're doing the installation process. All I had to do basically was unplug the cord and then restart it, and it was fine. All right, so from here is pretty much the same as any other Windows installation on a computer. We'll go ahead and tell it our geographical region. For us, it's the United States. gonna use US keyboard layout. We're gonna skip this part here. And we're gonna say I don't have internet. And we're gonna continue with limited setup. And we'll just put in our username, whatever username you want to put in. And then we'll click next. And then we'll create a password. And then we'll click next. Confirm the password. And then click next. And then we'll set up some security questions and answers. And here we'll click accept. We'll click not now. All right, and we're in Windows. So as you'll notice, it's in portrait mode. So the first thing we'll do is we'll just go ahead and switch it over to landscape. And we do this by going into settings, system, and then we'll go to display, scroll down to display orientation, and then pick landscape. Then we'll turn the Steam Deck around and click on keep changes. All right, so at this point there's nothing really left to do except install the drivers. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, so we have our USB plugged back into the computer. And if you remember that folder that we created earlier, the one where we put all the extracted drivers and we even named it drivers, we're just gonna drag it and drop it onto the USB. And then once it's done copying everything, we're gonna take it back over to the Steam Deck and plug it into the USB hub there. And also now, I mean, as an optional step, you could drag anything onto this USB right now that you want to install that you have already downloaded. For example, if you have Steam or Epic Game Store or Game Pass or PlayStation Remote Play, anything you want to install, you can go ahead and drag it and drop it over here right now. And that way you don't have to worry about downloading it. Just saves time. All right, so now we'll unplug our USB and we'll head on back over to the Steam Deck and install the drivers. All right, so we're almost done, guys. Go ahead and plug in our USB. And as you can see, Windows recognizes it. We'll go ahead and open up the file system.
Goodwill.
All right, so we'll go over to our main drive over here on the left. And there's our drivers folder right there. And we're just gonna go down the list. We're gonna start off with the APU driver at the top. That's the AMD APU driver. And we'll just click on setup. And while it's installing, you're gonna see the screen flicker a little bit. That's fine.
Hey, Will, this shit is fucking cold.
And we'll just click install. All right, so that's finished. We'll go ahead and click finish, and then we'll move on to the next driver, which is gonna be the SD card reader. All right, we'll click next.
Hey, Will, this shit is fucking cold.
All right, now it's gonna ask us if we want to restart. We'll say no. We'll just wait until we finish installing everything and then we'll restart. Next up is going to be one of the sound drivers. Now, when you're installing the sound driver, you're gonna wanna look for the file that says setup information, and you're gonna right click on it, and then you're gonna click install. And you're gonna do the same thing for both of the sound drivers. All right, that one's done. And we'll go to the next one. Do the same thing, set up information. We're gonna right click, click install. That one's done. All right, so now we have I believe this is the Bluetooth driver here. All right, that one's done. And then last but not least is going to be our LAN Wi-Fi driver. We'll click on setup, click yes. All right, and now all of the drivers are installed. All right, so now we can restart the Steam Deck. There's one more thing I want to do before I do that. As you can see here, we can detect wireless networks. I'm only going to, and this is optional. This is just my thing. This isn't really part of the whole installation tutorial. Just something that I want to do. Add my little personal touch to my Steam Deck. There we go. All right, now we'll go ahead and restart. And you guys will see this thing boots up really quickly. Boom, there we are. Go ahead and put in our password. And here we are, we're in Windows. Now from here, you could do whatever you want. You can go on and the internet and install Steam, start downloading games, whatever it is you want to do. We'll go ahead and connect to a network here really quickly just to show you that it works. All right, and you can see now that we are connected to Wi-Fi. We'll go into Microsoft Edge, even though I don't use Microsoft Edge. I will be downloading Chrome, but you know, just to show you that the internet works and everything. All right, there we go. All right, so let's go ahead and shut it down, and then I'm going to show you that we can still get back into SteamOS. See here that we're able to move the mouse with the trackpads. I will have a link down in the description to set up full controller support for games outside of Steam. Hold down, volume down, and power. Bring up the boot menu. And there we are. We're back into SteamOS. All right, so now we'll boot back into Windows. And all of this is from the internal SSD. We do not have an SD card installed at all right now. All of this is from the internal SSD. And there it is, guys. All right, I'm done. I've been up all night making this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys are helped out by this video. If you are, leave a like, consider subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next one. I am out of here. I am going to bed. Peace.
Not neutron.